Kamala Harris's economic agenda starting to take shape. The vice president's team reportedly working on making housing more affordable, lowering costs for families, adjusting corporate taxes, and more. Joining us right now, former White House Chief of Staff under Donald Trump, Mick Mulvaney. He's co-chair of Actum Strategic Advisors. Also, John Hope Bryant, founder, CEO of Operation Hope. He's also a CNBC contributor. Good morning, gentlemen. But, we have not heard in any real specificity exactly what Vice President Harris's economic policies are going to be and how they may differ from President Biden. Do you want to give us a preview to the extent you understand it, John Hope Bryant?
I think you've seen a sense of that, actually, when you looked at the medical debt, where she took medical debt and made sure that for all Americans, it didn't count against your credit score. And that because if you have something that is really a one-time event like that you had no control of, you cannot get a mortgage, you cannot get a home, you can't, it can stop your whole life. A little thing like that goes a long way to understanding her mindset. I think the economic opportunity tour she just did, which we participated in, is also a sense. I think she understands this is the aspiration generation. That's what I've told her people, and they didn't disagree, that this is about grow and repairing the ladder of growth for all Americans. I really think it resembles a lot of what I heard and saw in the Bill Clinton administration, the President Bill Clinton, which is the last time we had a balanced budget and growth at the same time. I don't think there's anything to fear here. I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. It seems pretty centric to me.
Hey, John, real quick before I get to Mick, I think one of the things we're going to hear is this idea of price gouging and corporations needing to be, quote, more responsible and things like that. We've heard that kind of language from President Biden and others before. Having said that, we've also talked to people like their own Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, who would say that corporations are not gouging, that there's a supply and demand imbalance, and that this is what happens in a capitalistic society.
Yes, again, I think that she understands the market economy. There's a difference between her and President Biden that I've noticed. President Biden really is a sort of for the worker guy. I mean, he grew up in that whole ethos, and I think that, I don't know if it's generational or what it is, but the vice president seems to be more about growing the pie versus cutting it up, or protecting you by giving you more pie to share. And I think that you're going to see an expansion, a desire to expand the market opportunities, including housing. Again, I don't know that we'll find out from her very shortly. But right. That's my sense of things. Is it's not going to be yes, or anybody. If there's some bad guys out there, she's a prosecutor. She's coming after. But I don't think that the focus is on prosecution. It's on prosperity.
Hey, Mick, there hasn't been enough details, I imagine, for the Republican Party to fully take on her economic policies, and I imagine you are waiting to hear them and get them in stark relief so you can. But what are you expecting?
Yeah, which is exactly why we don't expect any details. Look, there's a basic rule in law. It's a basic rule in politics. When you're winning, sit down and shut up. And right now, she's sort of moving in the right direction. So I do not expect any more specifics than we've got already. I expect a lot of aspirational language, a little bit of hope, a little bit of change, a little bit of, win the future, maybe a couple things on specific provisions. But why give details when all that's going to do is allow people to attack you? By the way, this is the first I've heard anybody ever equate her economic policy to Bill Clinton. I do not expect her to come out and say that the age of big government is over. What I expect is the same thing you've gotten before, which is it's going to be generalities. There's no reason for her to do anything more than that. So I'm not optimistic about what we're going to hear in the next couple of days. In fact, what I think you're going to hear after her presentation tomorrow, assuming it happens, is her not giving details. And then when her supporters and surrogates are asked, well, what about the details? They're going to say, well, you just heard the details. And they're going to move on to the next topic. So listen, if you hear anything other than aspirational language, abortion, and Trump is the devil, then she's off message.
Mick, let me just drill down on that for 1 second, which is to say, do you believe that she can pursue this sort of vaguer strategy, which I understand you think is the politically astute approach to this, and I'm sure that will frustrate others. But if that is the approach, can you get from here to November without details, or are you just suggesting over the next couple of days you don't need to do details, but maybe once you get to the convention you have to provide some more details, or maybe post-convention, once you get into a debate period, you have to provide some details?
No, I think you play it out as long as you possibly can and hope that you can get to November. Here's why. A couple different things. First of all, this is a very unique election. It's only going to be, what, 82 days or something like that left? So it's not the two-year campaign. There's not the pressure to sort of continue to feed information to the media. She's riding a honeymoon period right now, and she might be able to ride that the next 82 days. Plus, there's the other opportunities you've got to sort of to offer details that won't be there. My guess, listen, I'd be surprised if there might be a debate. You hear talk about 3 debates. I don't understand why she would debate if she's winning. So no, I think you can ride this out. And the last issue would be this. The folks who have undecided, and there's fewer and fewer of those every single day, are the folks who are undecided for a reason, which is they don't pay attention and they're not driven by the specifics of policies. They're driven more by personalities. So it's a unique situation with a short period of time, a small number of undecideds where you might be actually able to run for and win the presidency without offering any specifics.